Alright. You think? Think we actually set up on time this time? Until something goes horribly wrong. Yep. Until something goes horribly wrong. Oh, yeah. Lots going wrong. Hello. Yeah? Hello? Ha ha ha. Okay. Think we figured it out? There we go. And let me fix YouTube chat, and then I think we're good. Long time no Yammer time. Hi everyone. How you doing? It's been a while, and this is my first Yammer time with my 3D model. Yes, my buttons is very jiggly. And I love it. How is everyone? Tonight we are doing a risky thing. I am going to do some reaction content to a thread that went viral on Twitter at the very beginning of the year. And I wanted to react to this earlier, but I wanted to wait until I was just a little further in my bat brain recovery than when it was going viral. So I'm a little late to the party, but because I am a VTuber manager, at this point I make like decent part-time money being a VTuber manager. So I will say, you know, as someone who's worked for multiple VTuber agencies and now works as an indie VTuber manager, I would love to react to some of the sentiments of the VTuber community. I think a lot of these are from VTuber creators themselves rather than fans, which is kind of my wheelhouse. I'm gonna kind of treat this as if, like, you know, a VTuber client comes to me with this sentiment, and I'm gonna try and give my own thoughts about it, so that we can learn a little bit, you know? And then obviously I'm also gonna be super opinionated tonight. This is all my opinion, and if you have a different opinion, feel free to give it in the chat. I would love to discuss. And if you're a VOD watcher, feel free to give your opinion in the comments. Spicy bet. Yeah, it's a spicy bet night. And of course, this is all in good fun. Do not attack any of the creators we view the tweets of tonight. It is meant to be a hot take thread. So if you got angry from one of the takes, it means it's a hot take. That's all it means. Yeah. So let us get into... Let me see if I can... Yeah, okay. Let's get into the gaming. That should work. You like my eyes? Thank you so much. Okay. My connection is having a little problem. Then we go to Firefox capture. Okay. Let me find the correct... Yes, okay. Here's the correct one. So in between discussions, I'm actually going to be I'm going to be blacking my screen out, just because some of these get into like a little bit too spicy for the channel, like politics. We're gonna try and avoid too many politics. There's gonna be like a little discussion about gender, because that is a big issue for VTubers. But credits to Mara Evantree for this thread, and if you want to visit the thread, I've got it pinned. But yeah, in between the takes we're visiting, I'm just gonna be blacking out my screens just in case there's something, because you know Twitter. Something beyond Twitch's TOS. And then one more disclaimer is this stream will have swearing on the screen. I know I typically don't have swearing on my channel, but this stream will have swearing on the screen, but I'm going to replace them with family-friendly words. So don't worry about the audio, but the visuals may have swearing. I'm here for it. You're here for it? Yep. Here we go. Okay. Yeah. Here we go. So let's go into the quotes, shall we? It is the thread is called "Got an opinion about VTubing that would get you like this." So it's like all the knives pointing at Flynn Rider from Tangled, and it basically means like a hot take that will make everyone angry at you. So let's see. And feel free to rank them. I'm going to give my own opinion on how hot these takes are. I think it'll be fun. Let us go dive into the quote retweets. Okay, so we're starting off strong. I'm going to click on this one so it's big. Yeah. Nope, that just goes to their profile. There it is. Okay. Like I said, we're gonna get right into the not so family-friendly language. Most male VTubers are not pests or perverts. Claiming almost all of them are nasty, or claiming almost all of them are is nasty, disgusting generalization. Only a very small number are, but most male VTubers are just too small for people to consider, quote, real VTubers. There's only a tiny handful of truly successful ones, so generalizing thousands of people you don't even know because of a couple bad eggs is gross. I've personally seen a lot of perverted pest type female VTubers in the space who are put through zero accountability for their actions. Blah blah blah. I will generally react to this take because I get it a lot. And I'm gonna say this is not a hot take. I think this is actually how the majority of people feel. I think the majority of people do feel that obviously male VTubers can be great people, great friends to hang out with. I think where this opinion comes from is more of the female-only oriented VTuber fans, and then the female-only VTubers who market themselves to those fans. Oftentimes to make them... So, like, a VTuber, speaking from a manager's perspective, a VTuber has the responsibility of, like, figuring out their brand, and then not only figuring out their brand, but figuring out how to market to the correct audience. And there is a subsect of female VTubers who specifically want to market themselves as a safe space for the men who only want to watch girl VTubers interact with girl VTubers. Like, if they see a male VTuber on the screen, they're gonna unsubscribe, never donate, blah 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 blah. If the female VTuber is going for that market, what they're gonna do is they're often going to tweet or like mention that they don't want to collab with other male VTubers, and sometimes they'll even use the kind of like angle of like, oh, men are creeps, like I don't want any males in my proximity because of that. And then their audience will celebrate that take, saying, oh, like, so based, she's so based. We don't have to worry about like males on our stream, you know? So there's that aspect, and then there's obviously the other aspect, which I will lightly touch on. There are women with trauma who have a hard time being with men, like in not just in internet spaces, but in their daily lives. And for those women, I have immense sympathy for. And at that point, you know, you safely hold your boundaries wherever you feel you can hold them. But to condemn all men publicly on the internet is generally not recommended. And I would say, like, for the marketing side, okay, that's not the way I would go and market myself. But for the, like, opinion side of, like, I don't want to deal with men on the internet, I would say definitely, like, notice that about yourself, and bring it up if you know, have therapy or loved ones you can bring it up to. I think that's the space to bring it up in, not so much like your public out-facing brand persona, because what you're doing is you're accidentally cutting off half of the population by doing that. And if you make, like, generally half of the population feel bad about being around you, you're going to limit your audience quite a bit, if that makes sense. So yeah, I would say that is the my take on this hot take. It's lukewarm, but I do see where it's coming from. I imagine they see it as a hot take because the people who disagree are quite vocal about their dislike of male VTubers. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so I'm gonna black out the screen, and then I'm gonna find the next hot take. Because I want to make sure. Yeah, I want to make sure I don't accidentally put anything too nefarious on the screen. This is a good one, and it's by the same creator. Okay. Many VTubers care so much about what others think that they basically, like, collectively stop thinking. They just become this machine that perpetuates accepted narratives, challenges nothing, and even joins in on the shunning those who do. I think we should challenge people. We should be ourselves and grow meaningful relationships. I think a platform is meant to be used to inspire and to be used for good. Too many people use their platform as just making money at any cost. As a VTuber manager, I'm gonna say, number one, this is slightly spicier than the male one. I half agree. So many VTubers care so much about what others think that they basically collectively stop thinking. It's just like a hive mind. That is not VTuber specific. That is just the internet, but also... Oh, thank you for popping by. Hello, hello. What was I saying? Like, there is that hive mind, and like, the VTuber community does it, I would say, just because they're young creators. Now, I think we should challenge people, and we should grow ourselves to be in meaningful relationships. I agree. Challenging people publicly on your brand account, though, and again, this is like VTuber manager brain talking, I would say no. I do not think that challenging people publicly on your brand account is always the best thing to do, and I'm talking about the very, very professional-oriented creators. If you're a hobbyist, you do you. You talk about whatever you want if you're a hobbyist. However, if you are a professional, like, artist, like, suddenly dragging another creator to challenge them instead of posting about your art, Ceylon says peer pressure is an issue with people, not just VTuber. Yes, agreed, Ceylon. Autumn says 加多一点辣椒吗? Saying Shouldn't you add more hot peppers? I do agree that it probably should be kept for the alt account. Exactly. Yeah, I highly recommend if you are a VTuber to have an alt account of either your personal life or, you know, even just a private account that's just to you and your friends. And I definitely think that things should be, challenged. Just like, if you are a brand account, I wouldn't say you're the one who should be doing the challenging. And then the other challenging I want to specify, I do not think should be swung into cancel culture or like internet judge, jury, executioner type witch trials. I think if there's an injustice, it should be spoken up about. But the way the internet handles things always goes a bit too far for my liking. And then the second part of this VTuber's take is too many people use their platform as only the means of making money at any cost, even the cost of who they once were. Yep. Because the internet has become a viable business, and that's just how some businessmen and women work. And I think that's just a fact of life we gotta accept, right? When there's an opportunity to make money, people naturally use that opportunity by any means necessary. Yeah. Yeah. Like in public / at work, the call out feels great, but seldom actually does anything productive or even in the faint direction of helpful, yeah. Do we secretly want to work like an anime? Yes, we do, yeah. Yeah. Greatness at any cost, a trading card. Exactly. The mean girls mentality is everywhere. Oh, we'll talk about the mean girls mentality. I think that one's actually next. So, yeah, still getting lukewarm. Thank you for those who need to go to bed, but are popping by. I appreciate you guys. Okay. Here's the take. That probably isn't hot at all, but I've wanted to say for a very long time, and, it's taken, like, almost 6 years for me to be able to say it out loud. Buttons is piloting Yam like a mecha. That is not a hot take, that is a secret. Okay, here we go. Too many VTubers are trying to be exactly like popular VTubers, from voices, personalities, and designs. I wish people would be their authentic selves and just have fun. The unique VTubers are the ones I want to support. I love your wild designs and unique personalities and voices. No one can be you but you. Also, if you constantly indulge in drama, that ain't yours, it's just icky. Okay, we're gonna ignore the second one. But the first one, oh man. So as a VTuber manager, as a VTuber consultant, this is a problem. This is a huge problem. From the roots of the industry all the way up. This is a throughout the entire industry problem, starting at the agencies and trickling down to the indies. So, there is a terrible homogeneous problem with VTubers. Like, so badly. And if you're a hobbyist and you just want to be a pink cat girl, ignore me. You can do whatever you want as a hobbyist, but I'm talking about the industry here. VTubers trying to be exactly like popular VTubers. It's everywhere. It's the person with 15 subscribers and it's the person with 150,000 subscribers. The voices. The problem is, like, when you have branded yourself just like a popular VTuber, you're gonna get some fans just because of the model, because of the voice, because it's like, hey, more content. And Haru-chan sounds exactly like Hime-chan, and they have the same kind of bit, so it's just more content for me. That's what the audience thinks at the beginning. But there's a ceiling to that kind of content. You will always be limited to existing VTuber fans, and you will always be competing with existing VTubers that probably have more money or time than you. So if you are competing in that same niche, it's only going to be harder for you. Yeah. So we've got this problem in the VTuber community that, like, because acting like popular VTubers gets you that initial following, people think of it as the way to be successful. So then it happens over and over again, and then, like, these startup agencies see the initial success that these indies are getting, and again, the majority of indies are small creators, and we have a few mid-sized indies, but very few are, like, at the top, right? As it goes. And they see this, and the VTuber agencies are basically like, okay, let us hire the same exact artists from popular VTubers. Let us, when we look at auditions, let's try and pick someone who sounds like the already popular VTubers. Oh, they're a variety gamer and a singer? Well, that's exactly what the successful VTubers do, so that means they're going to be successful. And so then we have this problem where every single agency VTuber also sounds the same. And then it's a perpetual cycle because the indies look to the agency VTubers on what to do. So then we get more homogeneity. Yeah. It's like the whole DeviantArt OCs situation back in the aughts. I see. I wasn't there. I was still a baby bat. Homogeneity. 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 It eats a bunch of industries, not just VTubers. I've noticed that it seems to be the same problem in gaming, where it's like Five Nights at Freddy's took off, and then we have a bunch of mascot horror. Breath of the Wild took off. Now we have a bunch of, like, open world adventure third-person type games. Yeah. Hi, Gry! There you go, got it. Haha, yeah. Let me see. Trying to be someone else seems like too much work for me. I'll just be myself instead. I know, right? Yeah, there's a lot of unfun parts about taking content creation very seriously, though. Indeed. Yeah. Am Slime, I am everything and nothing perfect. I'm here for the Yam hot takes. Well, you've come to the right place. I'm gonna yell at the VTubers for a little bit. So what is the solution here? I'm just gonna, because this is trying to be constructive and educational, and what is the solution here? So I have, kind of a rule of thumb for my VTuber clients, and I'm just gonna share this with you. Free advice. For all my VTuber clients, I say, let's pick a portion of your content that we make your niche that you can't find many VTubers doing. And then for the other portion, you can play whatever you want. You can do whatever you want. You can sing whatever you want. So that even if because part of the problem is like, oh, okay, we're all VTuber fans and we all kind of have the same interests. We have a lot of overlap in what we're interested in. That's totally fine. You can still do those things, but I want you to find a niche that is unique to you, and then push that out for a certain portion of your content. For me, currently, My Yammer time is my niche, right? I'm an educational VTuber first. That's what goes on the main channel. But then I also do other things on my second channel. I also have a Bible study. I also play games. I also do music, and so I do a lot of the other VTuber activity stuff, but that's not what I market myself as. Because I think a lot less people are going to be interested in my gaming content because there's just so many VTubers that game. But there's only one of me who has had the experience that I have had as a VTuber manager and as an educational content creator. And also I'm just obsessed with teaching VTubers how to VTube, so that is my niche, you know? This is what I will continue to push on my channel. So I think there is a good, healthy middle ground between being, like, exactly a carbon copy of all the other VTubers, because it's like, oh, well, I love pink cats, and I love League, and I love, you know, I want to talk in the same voice as all the other VTubers. You can do that if you want to. You need one unique aspect, at least. At least one that makes you stand out. And then market the heck out of that standout point. I'm not saying don't be a cat girl. I'm not saying don't be a 1,000-year-old demon lord with the isekai backstory, but you need one thing. Give me one thing that is different than everyone else in the same market, and then you need to market the heck out of that. Yeah. Why is this the part I always struggle with? This is always the part I struggle with. I understand, Gray. But you do have a lot of unique things in terms of, like, being able to teach people as well. And then Etta in chat also has, like, a really unique series where she teaches about the, historic runes and horse facts and stuff like that. I love that kind of niche. So yeah, don't be afraid to be a little unique. I think this is mostly due to the fact that VTubers are really young content creators and they're not sure of themselves. They don't have the confidence to be themselves, and they got inspired to create by other VTubers, so it's really hard for them to, like, have the courage to do something different than everyone else. So yeah, that's that hot take. My market is not yet saturated in girl/boy failures. My time has come. Perfect. Okay, we're gonna go on to the next hot take, but again, I'm gonna black the screen until we've got the next one. Oh, speaking of young creators, we're gonna get to the young creators, the mean girl problem. Here we go. Most VTubers haven't grown out of their high school era. Many are gossiping, drama-fueled bullies, always looking out for number one with no regards to anyone else, and only see viewers as a number and not as in an actual human person. Okay, this one is a little spicier because of the word most. I would say this is a hot take, that most VTubers are this way. Because I actually think that there's a small and loud subsect of VTubers that are this way. But the majority of VTubers I hang out with are, number one, older than me. Number one, like my friend group, I am the baby. I am the baby of the friend group. And most of my friends are super, like, down to earth and chill, and we kind of just like sit and like laugh about the drama or like rub our temples about the drama rather than like participating. Now, who is the small sect of VTubers who haven't grown out of their high school era? We eat popcorn, yeah, we do. So, I have a theory, and I can't say it holds water. But I'm gonna tell you from an industry perspective. The industry likes to hire very young content creators. A lot of your favorite content creators who are in agencies, they started young. And I want to say the main reason for this is because young people are more in a situation where they can sign agency contracts and are willing to sign agency contracts. The number one is like can. Who has their like who can kind of dedicate time to things that don't bring in a lot of money? It's younger people. It is indeed the younger people that you know, kind of have their lodging already paid for and have a lot more free time than someone who has already started a career. They're also more willing to take risks on a career like that because they're like, oh, like if it doesn't work out, I'll just like, you know, go back to school, that kind of thing, you know? It's yeah. And then the other thing, the less fun thing, I just realized I didn't really crop my window. Let me crop my window so that we can see things up close more. There we go. Haha. Okay, the other thing is it's easier to get a younger person who has less industry experience, who can't afford a lawyer to sign one of these contracts. It just is. Just is. They don't understand how long a year can be. They don't understand how long 3 years can be. They're more willing to revenue share because they don't realize how that scales. They're more willing to, you know, they're more willing to put up with corporate type rules than someone who has more experience. And then the other thing is unfortunate. This is like, I'm not saying all agencies, okay? Just the bad ones. The bad ones are, they have less self-confidence and less self-respect, so they think that they need an agency in order to grow. They're also less patient to see slow growth than someone who's like, oh yeah, like, I go home after my full-time job and I just, like, stream for fun. They're like, no, I need to pick a career, and I choose YouTuber, so I need to make this happen. So, generally, I think the people who sign agency contracts are gonna be on the younger side. Not all, obviously. We have creators who are older, who, you know, obviously do VTubing and definitely do agency work. Yeah. So, the reason I think that this thing, the most VTubers haven't grown out of their high school era, is a thing is because I think the people with followers in the VTuber community are on the younger side. And then there's the other thing of like, when the tone is set for a community, I think people are more likely to follow that tone. So even if they aren't on the young and immature side, they're more willing to act young and immature under their anonymous VTuber persona than like if they were, say, at their regular job. Yeah. And then there's also, like, of course, the rage bait algorithm favoring that I have gone over time and time again. Is it really that worth it, though? Because I also notice a lot of young people join and don't actually recognize it's supposed to be a job, so there's a mismatch of expectations. I mean, would those same people be better in a corporate set, like a corporate office setting? I don't think so. I think you actually get creative individuals who wouldn't do well in an office setting, who feel like their only option is to then join a VTuber agency because they can't. They have the self-perception that they can't be professional. And yeah, it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. Hashtag we love hags. Yeah. There's a different perception of time between younger person and an older person. That's true. I will say my younger clients always ask me, so when do I pop off? When does my channel grow? And I'm like, your channel is growing. And they're like, I didn't think it would take this long. That is a very common, conversation I have at work. But I get to tell them, like, hey, like, let's look at your trajectory. Let's look at, like, where you were 6 months ago. Let's look at your audience and see who's the algorithm is pushing out to your audience. And I can demonstrate to them how they are growing and the rate they are growing at. It's just not what they expected. They expected, okay, I'm gonna debut and now I have fans. Yeah. The majority of my job is helping VTubers beg on their knees for the YouTube algorithm to recognize them. And it's hard. It's hard out there, guys. Okay. On to the next take. Let's see if we can find a spicy one. We're getting spicier. Okay. Let's see. Okay, I found a spicier one, guys. This is gonna divide my audience. Okay, I'm gonna zoom in just so that we get a better... Okay. VTubers aren't your romantic partner, end of story. No, but seriously though, if you feel parasocial, cool. If you let it show, not cool. I had a male friend tell me that they've gotten hate mail because they seemed too close to me, and I still carry that guilt with me until this day. I almost quit streaming at some point because I had people get more than just upset at me for not wanting to be their friend / romantic partner. No, you can't control how you feel, but you can control how you act. End of story, no excuses. Okay. Okay. This is a little tingly. I'm feeling the tingle. So, VTubers aren't your romantic partner, end of story. I don't really agree. I don't really agree. Marketing is a very powerful thing, guys. It is way more powerful than I originally thought when I first started VTubing. Marketing is kind of like psychology. You can market yourself to be your audience's romantic partner, and you can sell that fantasy to them. You can. If you sell that fantasy to your audience, that you are their romantic partner, and you are surprised when some people think of you as their romantic partner, like shocked Pikachu face. I can't believe they actually think I'm their romantic partner after, you know, I literally released a pack of like wedding voice packs and a promise ring. There is limits to this, of course. Pendulum swinging is not here. Like, this isn't a pendulum, a 1 or 0. This is a gray area. So, there are some things you can do to garner parasocialism of the romantic variety. And then you're going to get parasocialism of the romantic variety if you market yourself that way. Now, at the same time, I do not want to victim blame. Does anyone deserve harassment? No. Does anyone deserve to be made uncomfortable? No. But at the same time, I don't want to act like romantic parasocial content doesn't have consequences. Because if I act like it doesn't have consequences, there's going to be a lot of people who rush into it without any sense of what to expect. You know? So, it is a gray area. Let me read some of chat, because obviously this one's gonna divide chat. The context on this one depends. Very true. Buttons doesn't love me. Buttons is fictional, so you can be parasocial towards Buttons. You can't be parasocial towards me, though. Depends. I think voice packs are roleplay, though. Yeah, that is a little different than how I feel towards it, but I totally see where you're coming from, you know? Because there are definitely people on that scree on non-GFE content. See Hollow Girls and Stars Boys. Yeah. Sarah B says, where this becomes a problem is especially where some VTuber fans expect every single VTuber to be selling that fantasy. Oh, man. Yeah, so as safe as I am, I've had some strange behavior thrown at me. So, like I said, it's like, not that I want to, like, say, oh, if you get creeps, you deserve it because you did something to garner the creeps. No. I mean, the internet is down bad for, like, everything and everyone. It's awful, in my opinion. We're getting spicy. I hate the fact, like, I hate that culture, honestly, and I can, you know, respect the people but not respect the culture, that internet culture kind of thing. Like, I think it's detrimental, but it's something we all have to accept, that it's gonna happen sometimes. Now, I think that we need to acknowledge that there are some things you can do to make this a problem in your community, and one of them is not setting boundaries. Yeah. Like Etta says, like, oh, if it's roleplay, set that boundary of it is roleplay, right? That is something you can do to protect yourself, right? You have to be very clear, like, hey, this is roleplay. This is not real. And even then, you're gonna have some people who do not respect that. That's just the reality. Now, like, the other one that's like, if you feel parasocial cool, if you let it show not cool, I don't even know how I feel about this. Chat, I don't even think that I should be, like, I don't even condone feeling parasocial. I want to always encourage my audience to do what's healthiest for them. And I don't consider romantic parasocialism to be the healthiest thing for people. And I'm talking about, like, extreme, because some people are going to be like, oh, by commenting, technically, I have a parasocial relationship with a streamer just by commenting. People like to get really, like, actually, you know, about what parasocialism means. What I mean is, like, I feel like she is my girlfriend. I feel like he is my boyfriend, and I feel the same connection that I would feel with a romantic partner towards this creator who is a real person. That is what I'm talking about. I don't want to say if you feel parasocial, cool. I want to say, if you feel parasocial, please, let's unpack that. Let's seek out real human relationships. And let's see why we feel the need to connect with a creator on that level rather than a real life person who can love you back just as much as you love them. And at that point, it's like, therapy, you know, all roads lead back to therapy. I'm sorry. My boyfriend is a therapist in training. It's gonna come up, but you know, if you feel parasocial, get help. If you let it show, also not cool. Yeah, like, that's me. I'm gonna read chat now. Let's see. I come from an RP background since the late 90s. To me, there's always this hard line of out of character versus in character. And I think as long as you set that boundary, that's gonna be a lot healthier than like someone who's like, oh, I do GFE and I like phase in and out of being a tsundere on stream, and I say this is actually my real voice and this is actually me. And then you have a shocked Pikachu face when you are getting people who really believe you're their girlfriend, you know? Kev says, a little off topic, but this is why I told a friend of mine not to be afraid to mention her boyfriend occasionally on stream. Not to make him part of her content, but just enough to let his existence be known and mostly filter these people out from the get-go. Oh my gosh, Kev, you have no idea how excited I was when I had a boyfriend that I could start showing off on stream. I was just like, this is great! This is great! I can just, like, shield myself with the boyfriend. Let's see. People get strange regardless of the content you make. Yeah, just the volume of it differs. Exactly. You can't get rid of all of it, but I will say that there are measures you can put into place to prevent more of it from coming your way. It isn't any healthier for the audience if their parasocialism is more geared towards, say, wanting to protect the individuals. Some big creators who are just normal get these kinds of fans. Yeah. And at that point, I want to say that a lot of these fans are young, and lonely. Like, those are usually the two. It's like, that is a deadly combo. I think there's no greater force than, like, young teenage boys or young teenage girls who find themselves identifying as, like, the protector of their favorite streamer. Ugh. My heart goes out to them. Right, but I think she's acknowledging that controlling your feelings is really difficult, so if you can't do that, at least control your actions. True, Serby! That is true. I think if that's what she's trying to say, I do agree with that. I think a good way to solve it, though, is to define it as romantic parasocial versus just general parasocial, because there's always some parasocialism. I agree. We are talking about romantic parasocialism in this discussion, for sure. Marketing and parasocial aspects are something I'm seriously thinking about on my own channel. I'm not yet settled on anything concrete other than that I want my own VTuber model, and I'm not sure how I feel about the parasocial aspect in particular. I kind of want to make a guide on how to avoid parasocialism, but I'm just not really confident. I feel like I've sidestepped it now, but I don't know if my experience is actually helpful to everyone. I've kind of wanted to, but I don't know if I can. Like, I don't know if I can speak on it, because it's such a serious topic. Don't really think I've ever felt love for a creator. I always appreciated some of their content creations for streams, but it's kind of creepy to me when people say that they love me and they don't even know me. Yeah. Yep. I find it really weird too, and I try to have sympathy for those people. I tell myself that they're lonely, young, etc. But at the same time, I need to protect myself, and I usually end up removing those people from my community. Yeah, your boyfriend might be a valuable resource on creating a guide and handling / avoiding parasocial relationships. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, he's well equipped for that conversation. Okay, so the whole, like, anecdote of, like, I have a male friend, they got hate mail because they seem too close to me. That is definitely a thing that happens. That is a thing that happens, and I hate that it happens. For sure. Yeah. Almost quit streaming at some point because I had people get more than just upset at me for not wanting to be their friend slash romantic partner. Here's the thing. This sentence right here is something that I did go through. I did go through this myself. I was a young 19-year-old who started content creation on the internet, PNG tubing, and this happened to me. I almost quit streaming because my audience was getting upset at me for not wanting to be their friend and romantic partner. The thing that was missing from my channel was boundaries. The thing that was missing from my channel was boundaries, and also the fact that I was emulating the popular creators, not understanding that the things that they were doing were sexually coded. So those two things. So if you are in the same boat where you're just like, oh my gosh, I can't handle the amount of romantic parasocialism thrown at my way, I would say, first of all, get a good mod team. That is the first step. Second of all, enforce boundaries, because if you are willy-nilly on your boundaries, put your foot down now. I have a whole thing about boundaries in my stress-free VTubing guide that you can check out. So I'm not going to go too far into this, but if you're struggling with this, you need to say, starting now, at everyone on Discord, at everyone on Twitter, or you can't at everyone on Twitter, but at everyone in Twitch, scream it from the rooftops. Starting now, any behavior towards me that is romantically coded, or any sad emotes when I talk about my boyfriend, or whatever you're dealing with, starting now, that is an instant ban, no appeal. And cull the heck out of your audience. Or do what I did and literally start over. Yeah. And then from then on, you need to have a backbone. Anyone who's not treating you how you want to be treated is gone. And then eventually you'll get the community you want, just like I did, eventually. Okay, let's read chat. I literally tell people on my stream, you don't know me, and you're never going to see my face, and I'm never going to tell you where I live, and I won't even admit if you get it right. I'm going to leave you in the dark, and that's all there is to it. I don't love you. You're not allowed to love me. I simply create content. If you like it, great. If you don't, get out. Exactly. Yep. I've got mods that are ex-military, current military police officers, and doctors. I have my own family with wife, children. You're not allowed to know me personally ever. It's specifically the content creators that benefit from blurring those lines and then complain about the parasocialism to me that I think is silly. Because if you have like a husband and kids and you're pretending to be chat's girlfriend with no boundaries, you're gonna get some weirdos. And that's just something you have to accept. If you're willing to accept the weirdos, okay. Like, that's your decision. If it's getting too weird, you know, boundaries. And make it very clear that this is fiction. Semi-Enigma says, maybe it's because I'm older, dealing with boundaries and enforcing them because I'm too tired to deal with shrimps is like second nature now. Yeah, I will say, from 19 to almost 26 now, one of the main things I matured in was just boundaries and being able to tell people no. I'm not perfect, but I'm getting better. You also see it when people police the creator because they might be perceived as doing things that are unhealthy towards them. So like if it looks like they're gaming too much, sleeping, yeah, that's also parasocial for sure. I notice some don't actually enforce boundaries because they're worried about losing followers! Exactly. Well, cull them. Those aren't the followers you want. Okay, yeah. I don't allow the weirdos, and there's a lot of them, and unfortunately, some of them are not too sure if they're just joking, but either way, I don't allow it. Just keep it real with everybody. That's the other thing. Jokes! Don't let, like, jokes become... They become reality sometimes. They become your brand, your image sometimes, so be real careful about jokes. Okay, next hot take. We've been on this one long enough. Let me see. This is a Twitter specific take, so we can move that and like obviously follow for follow is bad, guys. Okay, this is one that I do need to air my grievances about. Talking badly about other VTubers behind their backs, throwing tomatoes at them, covering up for them behind their backs, and then publicly treating them cute and super friendly is hypocritical. It is not working, or not networking, nor will it help you grow. On the contrary, you only make it bad image for yourself, and everyone knows it because it stinks from afar. So, this is again like that really immature behavior. This is something a lot of people need to hear, and I don't think any of them are in my audience, but it's so true. You're allowed to not like people, hot take. You are allowed to dislike people. You are allowed to not want to work with creators for stupid reasons. Okay? VTubers specifically have like this toxic positivity of like, oh, I need to get along with everyone publicly even though I talk behind their back. Just be honest with yourself. You're not actually this cute anime girl who loves everyone, okay? You're not. You're allowed to not want to work with people. And because we have like this HoloLive image, we really have this like HoloLive image that it's like, oh, we all gotta be friends. We don't all gotta be friends. But what we all do need to be, if you are professional, if you're looking to get into this industry, is you need to be professional. The very worst thing you can do is yap to other VTubers, like in DMs, about a creator that you might work with in the future. Talk bad and gossip about them. Gry said, I think the hard thing is, unfortunately, we saw the whole Cinder Nano situation. There are some levels of in-group black. I don't know what that means, but... Gry, can you use English? Oh, blacklisting. Okay. I was worried that it was a thing. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Tanking someone's career. Yes. Okay, thank you. Everyone is entitled to not like you for whatever reason, and you don't have a right, whoever this person is, to say that because you probably already made like 100 enemies just by stating what you stated already. Yeah, not everyone's gonna like you. And you can't make everyone like you. And to pretend you like everyone is, especially if you talk bad about them, is not good. Blackballing is actually a several 100-year-old term, which is also on brand for me. Look, I don't know if it's the educational Gry or the saucy Gry that I'm talking to sometimes, okay? So just accept, number one, that you are not gonna like everyone and not everyone's gonna like you. The faster you do that, the better. Okay, now number two. Acting two-faced doesn't work, because everyone works with everyone here. Everyone works with everyone here. The people I have worked with in other capacities re-show up in my life literally 3 years later. I'm not even kidding. Like, the person I worked with in one company will suddenly pop up in another company, and I'm just like, oh, okay. Random VTuber, welcome in use and piano. Like a VTuber that I briefly interacted with in 2021, it's now in Hololive. You know? Everyone works with everyone in this industry. So, talking bad about VTubers? Bad idea. Let's say, I'm gonna make up VTuber names. Let's say I didn't like working with Midori-san, okay? I didn't like working with Midori-san. And, I talked to, Aoi-kun about how I hated working with Midori-san and how Midori-san is awful and all that. Now, suddenly Aoi-kun is forming an agency. Is he gonna go with Midori-san, who said nothing bad about anyone? Or is he gonna go with you? Now Midori-san is a huge VTuber. And you have already cemented yourself as someone who's hard to work with. And Midori-san, or sorry, who's starting the agency? Aoi-kun? Aoi-kun's starting the agency, and he knows that he can't have Midori-san and you in the same agency, so you just missed an opportunity because he's gonna go with Midori-san. Yeah, so by burning bridges, even in DMs, you're limiting your opportunities. Now, I will be honest with you, Bat Bunch, because I don't like playing the curtains. I don't like playing behind the curtain. I talk to my friends about my experiences. I do. Because I'm gonna give you guys the truth. I do talk to my friends about my experiences. I am honest to my friends. If they ask me, hey, what do you think about this creator? Did you have experiences with them? I am honest. But I try very hard to not let it devolve into just like gossip. I try very hard to not let it devolve into, you need to hate this person because I had a bad experience with them and that's their whole personality. Because I do not believe my one interaction encompasses the entire person. I have creators that I didn't have a good experience with, but my friends did. I have companies that I didn't have a good experience with, but my friends did. So generally, I try to be honest. I do tell my friends about my experiences, unless they're under NDA, then I just have to like cry silently to myself. But we do talk about our experiences. I also tell my talents of like, oh, I've worked with this company, here's my experience, but I always try to let them have their own opinion form about them and just use my experience as a, like someone said, a red flag kind of thing. Okay, let us read the comments, because we've got some comments. I simply call it in a nutshell, doxing oneself. Don't do it, think before you speak. Yeah, people really want to chase that high of like, oh, I'm finally in like a situation with a big VTuber. I'm gonna talk about my experience, especially if they're getting canceled. Oof. Think before you speak. Really complicated, whether it's for personal reason, they annoy me, versus professional or ethical reasons. Yeah, for sure. Everyone does talk, and people who act like they do not in any way are lying. Exactly. Words cause actions, actions cause thoughts, and thoughts quickly can make you enemies. You don't want enemies in the VTuber industry if you are doing this professionally. Isn't that also networking? Oh, that's the other part of this hot take. Okay. Being nice to people who you have talked about badly in the past. isn't networking or not. It depends on how bad it was. I've had experiences where I criticized agencies in the past and then I worked with them years later, and their criticisms were addressed. So, I'm kind to everyone on the surface, regardless of how I feel to them, but it's not like I'm super friendly. Like, if I don't like someone, I'm not gonna go out of my way to then work with them. You know? I generally keep my opinion to myself, because I don't want to limit my opportunities. That is correct. But I'm also not gonna work with someone who I don't vibe with just because they're big. Yeah. It's just like in the real world, especially tight-knit industry, be professional. Yeah, so I would say genuinely network with the people you want to genuinely work with. If you're networking with someone you don't really want to work with, you're not being authentic. Yeah. Right now, the BGM is going through, like, all these free-to-use sound effects. So I apologize. Okay, I think we're back to music. Okay. Oh, let me hide the thread as we go on to the next take. Okay, let's see. Okay, I found a hot take. We're only gonna go briefly on this. We're gonna oh, this one is spicy. We're gonna like spend like a minute on this tops because it's too spicy. Here we go. If you're not accepting of the fact that that word exists among other VTuber communities, you shouldn't be a VTuber. This is a very, very common sentiment among VTuber fans on Twitter, and I have feelings towards it. We're only going to touch it for like 1 minute. There are parts of the community that I do not like, and I'm not going to ever like, and I'm not going to ever, you know, address, you know? And I think the best way to handle those parts of the community is to ignore them. I think that, you know, if this is genuinely the way you feel, number one, my Bible study is open to all. Number two, it's not worth the time and energy to argue with these people. Because they form their identity around something that, like, why form your identity around that, you know? If that is, like, genuinely how you feel, like, this is your community, and I identify with other people who like this certain thing, and it's this thing, you might want to, like, look inside, do some self-introspection, you know? Genuinely, if this is what you want to surround yourself with, and this is genuinely what you find solidarity with other human beings in, I hope that you find something a little healthier. I genuinely want better for you, and I genuinely want you to feel like you can find a sense of community for something more productive. Yeah. Okay, that was it. Hopefully that's the spiciest one tonight. Also, I'm just gonna cut the BGM. I don't know why it's so, my BGM pack is going through, like, sound effects right now. So yeah. It's a complex and bigger issue than what a sentence could even address. Yeah. Was that spicy? I think so. Yeah. I think the fact that you want to gatekeep VTubers around a specific type of what I, as a Christian, consider to be a sin, I think it's pretty spicy. There were sound effects I didn't hear. Okay, cool. I'm just gonna mute the BGM. Okay. Let's see. We got another one about fake people. There are a lot of fake people. Actually, this one's worth addressing. We talked about mean girl behavior, and we talked about it's because there's, like, the really young side of the VTubing community, and that's who gets big. But I want to also talk about fake people. So, why is there so many fake VTubers? Number one, we are brand accounts and we're character brand accounts, so it's gonna be really fake. The outward persona a VTuber puts on is very fake. You're just gonna have to accept that that's the majority of people, that they're not going to put their whole selves out there when they are a VTuber trying to get big as a VTuber, especially if their content is their personality. If their content is majority like, oh, I'm a variety gamer who also, like, does just chatting, that is the, like, very few people can get big off of their real personality. And what ends up happening is if a creator is getting big off of their personality, chances are their personality itself is curated for content. Because generally people aren't always content oriented with their personality all the time. So they're either showing a 10 to 20% sliver of who they are to their audience, or they're faking aspects of their personality that do well algorithmically. You just have to accept that. Right? You do just have to accept that, you know? If someone gets into a character, it may not be totally fake. That's why I say, like, even if it's a completely fake character, it's part of them. Like, my OCs that I used to write stories about, they were part of me, but they were a small part of me. So genuinely, there's gonna be fake people. Number one, their personality is faked for the content or exaggerated for the content. So if you're expecting them to be the same person on stream, I'm gonna stop you right there. Don't expect anyone to act the same in friendships as you do the stream. Whenever I am interacting with a VTuber or creator offline, doing business with them or even just being friends, I expect a completely different kind of interaction than on stream. And I think that's the first aspect of this, where people kind of don't understand why it feels like, oh, they'll label this change in personality as, oh, so they're fake. The second aspect of fake is the backstabbing. This is creator-wide. For as long as I have watched content on the internet, there is creators who stab people in the back. You know? Because that is the nature of content creation, and that I've literally seen more drama from, like, there's, like, drama from indie dev creators, there's drama from, like, speedrunners for a SpongeBob game. And it's because people leverage each other to get more popular. It is a genuine content creation strategy. Is it moral? That is for you to judge. But it is a genuine content creation strategy. Chances are, your faves got their big break because one of their friends propped them up. at some point. And so in order to speed up that process, sometimes people will make friends with other big people to speed up that process, you know? Some people just want that clout. I would say there are some people who are more motivated towards clout than others, but I would say their motivation is to create to a big audience even more than the clout. But you know what? To say that I, got all of my success on my own would also be false. I didn't start seeing people care about my music until Starlight Daryl gave me the opportunity to work with Iron Mouse on Music Box of Fate. And I've been doing music since 2020. I mean, I've been doing music longer, but I've been publishing my music since 2020. So it's just how it works. And when we accept that, we understand why there's so many quote-unquote fake people, you know? I'm gonna bring some Minecraft music on really quick, just because I know that's not gonna get claimed. And it's now too quiet. Yeah. Oh, I think I followed you right before that. That was crazy. Let's find some Minecraft music. This is also the music I use for Bible study, so we're going full circle. Let us, yeah. Firefox, there we go. Onyo has some good music, by the way. Yeah, it's just a little too, I want something ambient. You look like the healer from Clash Royale. Thank you. Reminds me I'm going to have to check out your original music. Music Box of Fate is an absolute banger, and you should be proud of its success. I am working on more original music right now. I'm working really hard to make more original compositions. I don't have that much out yet, but yes, feel free to check out my music on my YouTube channel. So yeah, I think this all depends on perspective. Of course there's gonna be fake VTubers out there. The most popular VTubers make a fake persona, quote unquote fake, it's part of them, but they use a persona. And then content creation also makes it so that people kind of use people to get up there, because that's kind of the only way to get discovered in a lot of ways. So you can either wait until you organically have a friend who happens to get big, or you can try to make friends with the people who are big. And I'm not really gonna get into the ethics or morals of that. It's just reality. Whether you feel like that's ethical or moral is really up to your own moral code. I try to be very genuine with you guys, and I also try to be very genuine with my friends. I think a lot of people know, like, I have a friend group that I've stuck with since 2020, and just because none of us got big doesn't mean, like, we're any less good of friends. And then, I have several VTuber communities that I run, like the Video VTuber server, where I just invite everyone, regardless of size, based on the merit of their content. And then some of them get big, and I'm like, oh, great for you, This is why I like your content. You keep it real, at least in the sense that you don't claim to be something you're not. You recognize fake and real in the midst of everything, and you don't allow yourself to be drawn in by the chaos and drama. And lastly, you're not afraid to speak up on the truth, but you know how to do it professionally and maturely. That's what drew me into your channel. Thank you so much. I do try really hard. There are aspects of my personal life that I don't put on my channel, but all the thoughts and opinions that I do share on this channel are genuinely mine. And I try to not let them be influenced by what's going to get me more followers, and I try to not let them be influenced by what might open up more opportunities for me in the future, Okay, let's see. Oh, this is an interesting one. Let's talk about it. Spend more on rigging than art. This is a model, like Live 2D specific take. A beautiful model does matter. Okay. First impressions are real. And I have followed VTubers because of stunning designs. But when the rig is weak, the model cannot fully express itself. Expression feels limited, movement looks stiff, and the illusion breaks. You imagine long wavy hair to flow and bounce, not to move, like it forgets how gravity works. This is not to say everyone should spend the same way. If you have a dream VTuber mama you want to go all in on, that makes total sense. Just think it's worth remembering that even the most beautiful design shines more when it can move and express itself as well as it looks. This is spicy. Not as spicy as the spiciest one we only spent a minute on, but this one's pretty spicy. I agree to some extent, but there are certain aspects I disagree with. If you are going for the big VTuber model art, this does check out. Oh my gosh, I actually agree with this having bad rigs versus pretty art in the past. Okay. Chat seems to agree. Rigging is more impactful than the art alone, but the design is also extremely important. So, I can answer this as someone who's done all three aspects. I have done the PNG tubing, I've done the live 2D, I've done the 3D. And then I'm also a VTuber character designer. I can tell you, my personal order of importance when it comes to these things, and I'm very biased. I'm very biased because I am the designer, but I think design is top. Then I think, like, art style is second. Not art, but art style is second. And then I would consider the, like, actual illustrated model and rigging to kind of be on par with each other. I wouldn't say one is more important than the other. Yeah. Learn rigging even if you have subpar art. Rigging can legit make you look amazing. Interesting, yeah. Big corpos get away with not caring about rigging though, so why does the indie side feel like it's so necessary? That is a great question. This is a double-edged sword. They have a point, but not everyone can afford, especially if you're a new VTuber or a new streamer in general. Most can't really afford. That's something to work up to, exactly. Would factor in style into design TBH. I know they aren't the same, but it's the same ballpark. Okay, so we'll combine art direction into one thing, and we'll say that's the design and the style. I still think, like, design and style is top. And then, like, art and rigging is kind of on par. But I would say that you need better rigging for higher detailed art, and you need simpler rigging for lower detailed art. It's not just like, oh, spend more on rigging than art. Because there are plenty of, like, really, really simple design VTubers that are look super good, and their rigging is very simple. Whereas if you are going for, like, the Iris 1.0 realistic nose, highly detailed model, you need to then, kind of like building a PC, you don't want to bottleneck it anywhere. What you need to do is then spend more on the rigging. If you spend a ton on art and then, like, don't spend on rigging, it's, like, not gonna match. It's gonna bottleneck. Whereas if you are, like, I can afford, like, a VTuber chibi with dot eyes, you don't need to spend more on rigging than art. Yeah. The big corpos get away with bad rigging, in my opinion, because corpo VTubers, number one, they're kind of on a different level, where it's not that they're not spending on the rigging as much, it's that they have proprietary software they're dealing with. And then the other thing is, of course, they get away with it because they have a marketing powerhouse behind it, and I feel like the marketing fills in the blanks that the rigging lacks. Yeah. Yeah. It's complicated because there's a floor where you're below it, you look very good with simple. Oh no, I fusion summoned 2 comments, hold on. Also complicated because there's a floor where if you're below it, you'll have problems on both sides. Yeah. I don't think it necessarily is simple equals bad though. Look, things can look very good with simple, yeah. Meanwhile, I want to learn rigging myself and effectively remove the cost of the model upgrade. I rigged my first 2 models and no one was upset about the rigging. People were upset about my design choices, but it's because I purposefully put design choices in my VTuber models that aren't the typical anime girl stuff. So I gave my first one really big elf ears. My second one, I had like the whole VTuber bat nose thing going on and people thought it was gross, and then I just like reiterated on the bat thing, and now generally people are pretty happy with the like bat characteristics I have. So like I've never been told like, gross, simple rigging, or gross, your art style. It's only been about my design, but they are design choices I made on purpose. Let me see. Meanwhile, I'm going to learn... Okay. It ironically feels like the indie side has trapped themselves in a cost arms race when the companies are being cost cutting ends up winning in the averages. So... Interesting you put it that way, Board Individual. Agencies aren't actually winning the cost race. They're not. They just work with more famous artists who are less experienced with live 2D. So the cost ends up being more sometimes, but because it's like these very, very famous artists who's worked on like Fate Grand Order, who's worked on Sword Art Online, these really big gacha games and or anime, because they don't know how live 2D works, a lot of them don't know how to design for it and definitely don't know how to illustrate for it. And then they have long-term riggers that they have relationships with, but those long-term riggers haven't kept up with the times of how advanced live 2D has gotten. And then, of course, there is the corporate pipeline, which is always less efficient than an indie pipeline. Yes. They do have proprietary tracking tech as well, so the agency argument is a little more complex. Yeah. This is a question for how sustainable it is for indies in the long run, now that free customizable models are gaining traction. So I'd love to, I would love to get into that. I want to actually talk about the state of models in 2026 because things have changed a lot, and that's its own episode. But basically, I do believe that if you value the illustration and the rigging quality over the design, go for the free customizable models or the paid customizable models. If you are like, I don't care that I'm not unique, I want to look beautiful, go for a customizable model. They're amazing resources. And I'm so glad they exist because so many people basically waste a lot of money, thousands of dollars on like just a guy in a t-shirt and a hoodie because they don't really want to be unique, they want to be pretty. So I'm so glad that like that's a resource for those people who value that more. If you value the design and the unique character design over that, become a PNG tuber for the cost effectiveness. Because I think generally if I had to start over and I was given a budget of $100, I would not go for the customizable model myself. I'd go for the PNG tuber because the design of my VTuber matters to me more than the rig. That's just me though, you know? How do you learn to create a VTuber model? There are many, many tutorials out there. You can also join my Discord and I can help you out there. Depends on the model. type you want to go for. Blender is sufficient to learn rigging for a 3D model, right? I think it's Blender and Unity that you need. I am not a 3D modeler. Okay. Yeah. Ah yes, kind of like hiring famous regular actors for voice acting roles. It doesn't always work out exactly.
Sable and Nebulae and friends are raiding the Bat Colony.
Oh, lovely. Thank you so much. $100 budget, get a free model, and then go to Applebee's. Yeah. Welcome in, Sablin. Thank you so much for the raid. Hello, my name is Albat, and today we are going through VTuber Twitter hot takes and just yapping about my opinions on them. You want my limited perspective on using customizable models sometime? Let me know. I would love to hear. I've kind of wanted to reach out to some creators and just like ask if I could like have a review copy of some of their customizable models, because I cannot afford to like compare and contrast like 8 customizable models. That's not in my budget, but it would be great if I could just have hands-on demonstration of all of them and kind of go through the pros and cons of what a customizable model would be versus like a custom PNG, you know? Also, animating PNG tuber models may not be a good starting project for VTubing, aka don't pull a me. No, I really genuinely think that just a stagnant, but like completely static image in the corner, but you have a really cool design, I would rather see that than like a really prettily rigged model with no interest to it. But that's my taste. It's all about taste. So yeah, I would say this is a hot take. I think the way they see it is not exactly how things work. I think like if you have a more detailed model, you need more detailed rigging. If you have a simpler model, you need simpler rigging. And to mix those up is to shoot yourself in the foot. Yeah. Yeah, using the free trial of Live 2D is great too. You can get a ton of mileage out of PNG model. Yeah, honestly, the other thing is like PNG models are great to start learning how to stream with because it can be really overwhelming to pilot a model and learn how to stream at the same time. I just recommend PNG tubing for anyone who's starting out over a lot of the other stuff available. I mean, you can go full chibi, small body, TBH. Yeah. They're very attractive and well priced. Exactly. Okay, let's go on to the next one. Next hot take. Let's try and find a unique one. Let's see. Ha ha! Okay, this is not a hot take, but I just want to highlight it. Google Docs are immature. Yes, they're immature. Google Docs are very immature. The day one of my talents sends a Google Doc instead of coming to me on solving an issue privately, the day I actually do raise my voice at them slightly. Yeah. The poor man Mujin reading bad Google Docies, yeah. No more Google Docs, guys. They're such a waste of time. They're so annoying. All it tells me is that you are hard to work with. And if something genuinely terrible happened to you, please seek resources outside of the internet. A lot of the time. Can I use Google Docs for projects? Meanwhile, I'm over here using Apple Office's suite for free. Oh my gosh, you guys are so funny. Funny bat bunch. Yeah. Everything Like, Google Doc, I would say there's like a 5% exception. The 5% exception is like, if you genuinely have no means of solving things in any other way. Like, no legal counsel, no private counsel, nothing. Maybe. But it doesn't need to be an entire Google Doc. It literally just needs to be a, hey, this happened. And this is the person who did it. I would say if you need to go into more detail than that, stream? Stream so everyone can hear the inflection of your voice and can be a, yeah, like, or even better, like, release a video that is succinct. Yeah. Did I say that right? I don't think I said it right. Succinct? Not succinct, probably. But yeah, Google Docs are super annoying. And if you are my talent watching, you are not allowed to make Google Docs. I will help you with statements. I've left companies. I've left organizations that were not ideal, but I did not make a Google Doc about them. Yeah, succinct. Second. So yeah, I just wanted to point this one out, just in case. It's again the immature nature of the community that makes this happen. Okay. Oh! Hey, Kenny! My good friend Kenny has some hot takes! Let's rate Kenny's hot takes. Oh, okay. Hold on. We got a comment. I can understand Google Docs for ease of sharing, but for real work, no, I'm using Apple Pages. Oh my gosh, you guys! I thought this was a real comment! Okay, Kenny's hot takes. Number 1. VTubers who lean heavily into GFE or parasocial content have a moral responsibility to tell their audience they have a partner. Ooh! Ooh! Well, I'm gonna think on this. So, I 100% agree with the other way around. VTubers who lean heavily into the GFE and parasocial content have a moral responsibility to tell their partner that they have an audience. That is the first thing I would say. I have legitimately, hypothetically, witnessed situations where a person I was working with made this content and did not tell their partner in real life and didn't tell their audience that they had a partner. They were like living a double life, and it really felt like I was working with someone who was kind of sort of cheating. It felt yucky. So I will tell you, first of all, tell your partner that you have an audience and that you make this content, okay? At the very least. Now, if they have a moral responsibility to tell their audience if they have a partner, it highly depends on if they are making that boundary, like Etta said. If they're like making it clear that this isn't like the real me, this is just a character I roleplay, at that point I'm just like, you know, the partner aspect. Like, if you are the voice of, like... I can't think of any... Okay, if you are the voice of, like... I can't think of any anime characters! What's wrong with me? I just watched anime today! If you are the voice of, like, Ai-chan, and that's the character you play in an anime. Do you have to disclose your marital status as the voice actor? No. If you are acting yourself and you are presenting this as yourself and you have like a girlfriend tier where you pretend to be these people's boyfriends, like be in a relationship with this person over Discord through like DMs, which is real, that is a real thing that happens, then I would say, okay, yes, you do have the moral responsibility to tell both your partner and your audience that this is a thing. Looking at K-pop idols, yeah. I only agree with his take. It's very specific level of parasocial. Like, you're taking money for personal calls, yeah. But like, outside of that, I think the audience's responsibility to spend time and money responsibly and not assume they're kind of some kind of special snowflake. Yeah, it's... Okay, here's my Christian take really quick. The Christian in me is gonna pop out for a second and then I'm gonna put her back. This is why you just don't do this content. It's such a slippery slope. It's best to just not touch it. That's my Jesus follower take of the day, okay? But you know, I work with clients professionally of all walks of life, and I am fine with managing any type of creator, as long as they're professional about it, really. Yeah, I mean, that's super valid. You shouldn't, because you're not comfortable with it, but, you know, I don't have problems with those who are comfortable. Yeah, like I said, I can totally work with people on a professional level, regardless of their stance on that, but it's just easier to not do it, you know? It's just easier to not do it, in my opinion. Because it lands you in gray area, slippery slope situations, you know? Yeah. Okay, communities don't always reflect the streamer, but are definitely reflective of what they allow. Yes. I agree with this. We talked about boundaries earlier. I said, rule your boundary community with an iron fist. But I don't necessarily hold the creator, especially bigger creators, responsible for everything their fans do, because, let me think, like Toby Fox, such a chill guy. Undertale fandom, not a chill place. You know? You know? And I've had some unhinged fans do stuff that I did not agree with in the slightest. Yeah. And then third, many small VTubers don't try hard enough. Okay. Yes? But do they need to try hard enough? Do they need to? Creators don't need to try hard if they are complaining about not getting success, but they're not trying. That's where, okay, maybe, right? But like a hobbyist VTuber with like a V-Roid, I mean, I'm piloting a V-Roid, but I mean like I'll just say a default model. A default looking model or PNG tuber who's just like USB micing it on their laptop once every 6 months. They are a creator. They're super valid. They are a VTuber. And I'm so proud of them for taking some time and trying creation, because creation can be a hobby and it can be a very fulfilling hobby no matter how many times you do it. But if you are a small VTuber who's constantly complaining, oh, I don't get any donations and I'm working so hard and I stream full time, but I don't get anything and I always get rejected from agencies. At that point, yeah. they might be trying really hard and they're complaining because it feels like their efforts aren't paying off. But a lot of the times what I see is they're trying hard at the wrong things. I'm just gonna say it outright. You can't grow from streaming. Don't even, like, bank on that being an option. You need to grow doing something else. If you grow from streaming, you're like a miracle. Yeah. You're like a miracle baby if you grow from streaming. Like, you're a unicorn. Let me study you. Because everyone who, at least the ones that I know how they got their success, everyone has at some point done something else that required other talents than just playing League of Legends 8 hours a day. Yeah. You're a unicorn if you stream, so you mean queso? He's so lovely. Aw. Or if you were in the early days, yeah. I'm thinking the same thing. The V-tweeting people do complain a lot about having an audience, but they focus on the wrong things. They do! Honestly, this ties in with the, like, oh, the expensive model is important kind of thing. Pretty does work. No, it doesn't if you're not showing that to audiences. Yeah. Genuinely, if you are, like, just streaming, just chatting with a pretty model, and you're not clipping yourself, you're not making scripted content, it's genuinely, yeah. It's not something you can bank on. And most people don't get success through that. So, whenever someone is complaining, like, their CCV is down and, like, they're so frustrated because, you know, this, that, and the other, the first thing I ask them is, are you making content outside of your live streams? Do you have a niche outside of variety gaming? And if the answer to that question is no twice, I don't really, you know, that's the first thing they need to work on. And then the other thing is, I think the other aspect of many small VTubers don't try hard enough can be extrapolated into many small streamers if they're trying to improve. Okay, like, if you just want to be a hobbyist, you do you. But if you're trying to improve, if you're trying to be professional, and you kinda, sorta don't respond to chat when you do have chatters, you just play Counter-Strike with the volume way up, and you don't talk, I can't help you. Like, you need a it's not that I can't help you. That's the wrong words to say. I'm just feeling spicy. No, I can help you. Actually, I can help you a lot. First of all, pick one thing to focus on improving at a time so that you're not overwhelmed. So, like, first of all, I would say the most important thing, interact with audience when they show up, make them feel special, respond to chat, look at chat. If a game you're playing doesn't allow you to look at chat, that's not the right game to stream until you're big enough to have chat entertain themselves. Sorry. You either have to ruin a little bit of your gameplay to actually talk to your audience, or you have to pick a different game. Like, it's your choice. Play a little worse to gain fans, or play a different game. You know? And then obviously you need to keep talking. Yeah, like Etta said, how do you expect to be a big streamer if you can't talk to yourself? Exactly. I'm such a yapper that, like, you guys could disappear and I'll still be yapping like this in my head. But yeah. Improve at one thing at a time. First things first, respond to chat. Second things second, get your audio in order. Those are the top 2 things that I see small streamers struggling with. And then they'll complain like no one wants to collab with me, no one visits my streams, no one wants to follow me back on Twitter. When they really just need to look a little bit, adjust some levels. It's not even that like your mic quality matters, but like I got by with a USB mic a lot of the time. You just need to make sure that your levels are okay. The not talking thing is something I struggle with. I do interact with my chat when they chat, but filling gameplay with speech is an area where I'm weak. Watch a few other creators and get an idea on like how they fill the space, because chances are they're not always responding to chat, that they're probably talking about like, oh, what's this? Oh my gosh, look at the graphics, you know, that kind of stuff. I'm not a game VTuber, so I'm not like the best at it, but I will often like go on personal stories. You want practice? If you drive, talk to yourself while driving. Or talk in your closet. Interesting. This is something I do all the time, but quietly, so I have to speak up. Yeah. Yeah. So, Kenny, hot takes. Good job. These are the spicy takes we want. I don't fully agree with them, but you know, that's what we're here for. I do have a hot take for you guys. I'm going to share it in 10 minutes. I will share my hot VTuber take. Let's see if we can find one more audience submission. There's a lot of stuff on the lollies. Oof. Ooh, I think I found one. This is a good one, because we're talking about me being a VTuber manager here. Way too many VTubers hear the word free and their critical thinking shuts down. No due diligence, no reading contracts, just entitlement. Oof. Most agencies do not collapse because of drama. They collapse because people underestimate the cost of running one. Oof. And many VTubers do not realize that joining an agency means joining a corporation, not a charity. People think running one is cheap, and talents think being signed means being taken care of. That's not how corpos work. This is a job, not a handout. Not a grant wishing service. Jobs have expectations, obligations, and accountability. Nothing is ever free. Someone always pays. If you do not know what that is, or who that is, it's probably you. Oh, spicy. I've got something to say about all of these. Okay, first sentence. No one does their due diligence. VTubers hear the word free and their critical thinking shuts off. No reading contracts. Yes. Not no reading contracts, but not understanding what the contracts mean. Part of this is because they're so darn long. They're so darn long, and they have so many like clauses in there. And I'm just gonna say it outright. Some predatory companies, and like not all of them, some companies are predatory and they do not give you much time to sign the contract. And if you even ask questions, you even ask a question about the contract, they'll go on with the next candidate, and they'll make sure to let you know that we have multiple candidates lined up ready to take your place if you have a problem with the contract. So although there are some VTubers who are signing out of like, oh, their intelligence shuts off, more often I see, number one, not being able to afford lawyers. Number two, they just get passed up because they asked questions or were doing their due diligence and wanted a more fair contract. Because they'll find someone else who's willing to sign under those terms. So even if you pass the interview, and you have a contract in your hands, it's not over. The contract negotiations can get you passed up just as easily as the interview. And basically, if you seem like someone who, to these predatory companies, this is not every VTuber agency, oh my gosh, big disclaimer, not every VTuber agency, but if you are in a predatory environment. Good night. Yeah. If you're in a predatory environment, they will pass you up the moment you want to read the contract and actually, like, say, oh, hey, can this NDA apply to both parties, not just the company? Because I don't want you guys divulging my information either. That's enough for some companies to just be like, okay, next. So it's not just the, VTubers, just don't read the contracts. There's more to it than that. Yeah. Let me read some chat here. Indeed, most of these companies are glorified tech startups. They burn money and want to get bought, and when they don't, they bail. There's a term I heard saying that might apply here. Eula roofing. Eula roofing. Oh yeah, the hidden terms of services and legally binding documents. Oh yeah. That is a thing in VTuber contracts as well. In predatory agencies. Again, not every company. The just entitlement? Oof. I disagree heavily. And I've worked with creators that I would consider entitled. Yeah. Legal Shield is a good, not free, but cheaper solution for this. Good to know. Good to know. Legal Shield, yeah. And then again, yes, this is mostly happening to young people, and they're trying to find young people who are more agreeable than like someone who seems to be unsure of things. They'll say, "Oh, you don't believe in our company? Next." But it's not that you don't believe in the company, it's that you're trying to protect yourself. Gry says, sometimes I wonder that's why I was booted at the stage I was in the application phase, because I asked for a bi-directional NDA instead of just signing theirs. Haha, that's funny. That's really tragic, honestly. But it happens. A lot of my friends with good heads on their shoulders will get to the contract signing phase of an agency, and then they get passed up because they actually wanted to change the contract. Yeah. This person does work for a management company. So, you know, that's their perspective, and I do respect them and their perspective, of course. These are supposed to be hot takes, by the way. You know, a lot of my coworkers in companies will call the talents, oh, they're just entitled. Oh, they want so much from the company, but they don't want to give back. That is a very common sentiment among managers in the VTuber agencies that I have worked for. It is just how it is. Like the corporate side of VTuber agencies think, oh man, these VTubers just want everything for free. And I tend to side with the talents more than the management companies. Not always. There have definitely been times where I do consider the talent to be unreasonable and or entitled. So I'm not going to say all the time, but a lot of the time I just see that VTubers want what the website and or like the dream that the agency promised. They want the treatment that they advertised. You know? A lot of the time that's what I'm seeing. Not so much the entitlement out of nowhere. It's that you gave them false promises. Or you didn't promise anything, but you implied some things. Yeah. You implied some things. when you say talent freedom, and then you're like, oh my gosh, they're so entitled because they want freedom, you weren't really specific in what you considered freedom. You just said it because it sounded nice in the advertisement, you know? That I think a lot of VTubers will buy into the hype, and then their shock of it not being as the hype promised gets read as entitlement by the management company. Like, oh my gosh, why do you assume that, you know, you're gonna get all of this right now? And it's because that's how it was. Yeah, it's because that's how you advertised yourself. It's false advertising. Sometimes. In certain companies. Again, I work for good agencies at times. Like, I do consultations with good agencies who are genuinely different than that. And I don't want anyone to think, like, oh, hashtag all agencies. It's not like that, you know? Most agencies do not collapse because of drama. They collapse because people underestimate the cost of running one. 100%! I agree. VTuber groups often do collapse because of drama, but the agencies often collapse because the funds dry up. It is as someone said, they don't realize that this is like, it is really a glorified tech company, and then when the you know, trust fund baby who started it runs out of their money, or realize that they're like $30,000 deep, they're like, okay, this isn't working out, and they do collapse. Many VTubers do not realize that joining an agency means joining a corporation, not a charity. This is somewhat true, but it's not because of the VTubers thinking it's a charity. They think it's because they're gonna get paid at their job. Sorry, but I think it's because they think they're gonna get the. You're saying that this is a job, right? Meanwhile, most agencies do not pay their. I'm gonna zoom in. Yam's getting spicy now. I don't remember how to zoom into my model. Never mind. Oh! Here we go. Hi, Bat Bunch. We don't need to be that zoomed in. Okay, guys. Most agencies do not pay a wage. Do you understand that? The reason they think it's like, oh, it's a charity, it's because you would expect, if they're saying, oh, it's a job, treat it like one, you would expect that they pay you a wage. At least a living one. Instead, they take a cut of your money and they say that they're giving you the model, they're giving you the setup, that's your payment. So if you join an agency and you expect I'm going to go from I'm gonna quit my job and follow my Gargara dreams. Guys, they're not gonna pay you a wage. And then you're going to be called entitled, and you're gonna be called expecting charity funds for actually wanting to get paid for your work. So, if you are saying, hey, it's not a handout, not a wish-granting service, jobs have obligations, expectations, and accountability, the exchange of those things is that you pay your talents. And I have no idea who, I don't know this creator or manager or who they work for and what that policy is, but I can tell you that jobs that I did get paid for as the manager, the talents did not get paid. They would get like an allowance, a stipend, or they would get nothing. and they still had to give a cut of their earnings. So, in order for you to expect your VTubers to treat it like a job, you gotta pay them. You gotta pay them a job wage. And if this creator works for a company that does do that, great. Genuinely no complaints at that point. Genuinely no complaints if you're paying them a fair wage. However, if you're calling them entitled for expecting to get paid when they themselves expected to get paid for something you're calling a job, I'm sorry, but like, you're just, that's not how the world works. You need to pay people for what you're calling a job. Yeah. But yes, the money issue, 100%, I agree. Real though, how does the company make money to pay the talents if they basically run off investment money? I'm actually curious about that now. So, in the small space, the way they make money to pay the talents is often merchandise. And it's often some donations, not a ton. But most of it is coming out of the pockets of the passionate people who started the agency. Straight out of their pockets. There are men and women whose dream it is to form an agency and make it work, and they're the ones paying for everything. Yep. So yeah, that okay, I would say this is the spicy take for sure. Because I don't agree. Because if you're not paying talents, in fact, if you're taking a cut from them, they deserve to get their money cuts worth of services given back to them. And yet, I think a lot of agencies call VTubers entitled for wanting what they could have literally paid for themselves with their own cut. Yeah, they legitimately could have, you know, like, if a creator around my size, assuming they didn't get put in YouTube jail and assuming they actually stream regularly and upload YouTube videos regularly, that's like a chunk of $500 there. Like a $300 to $500 is how much I would probably make if I actually, you know, created regularly instead of doing whatever I do. They could have afforded, out of that cut, the 30% cut that the agency takes, or even 40-50%, they could have afforded the art that the agency provided, the model art and rigging that the agency provided in a few months. So, and then like the bigger they grow, the more that cut really hurts. Where they could have just used that money to go directly into their channel. So yeah. Merch makes so much money and it usually means they grab a huge percent of it. Yes, starting to think VTuber agencies are a flawed business model. Oh no. There are some people who I do believe are doing it right, but they have to use a lot of their personal funds to get it off the ground. But I do think there are some current companies who are alive that are doing it right. But I haven't seen it done right very many times. And I feel like when it's done right, they run out of money. And when I think it's done wrong, like they're still alive, it's because they're really predatory and no one can leave. So yeah, okay. That was a lot of VTuber hot takes. What was your favorite? Which one did you think was the spiciest? Okay. So you guys want to hear my VTuber hot take, right? This is my VTuber hot take. I think it's a pretty spicy one. I believe that all of those fancy models that agencies and even indies leave behind, like the agency and indie VTuber graveyard of models and designs that go into retirement and never see the light of day again, is a huge waste. And I believe that we should have a resell system for models and personas. I believe that the stupid taboo of like, oh, that's someone's like personal VTuber model, we shouldn't reuse that, should be destigmatized. Because there's some really genuinely really creative models that never see the light of day ever again because the person who commissioned it got bored of VTubing. Now, obviously, there's, like, caveats to this. Obviously, it doesn't work in every scenario, but especially in agencies where the models weren't even made for the people. Like, they were pre-made models that voice actors used. I do think that they should be resold. Do you mean corpo or indie? Both. I think it goes back to the parasocialism and why that stigma exists. Yep. Have a bidding war over the Gargura model? That would make so much money! So, here's the thing. If I disintegrate tomorrow, I do want someone to use the Yam model. Genuinely, like, if I died... if I went to be with Jesus tonight, I would genuinely want someone to use Yam and all her fan art and all that to continue to use this model because I think it's pretty cool. Yeah. Now, are there choices that I made in this design that specifically reflect me? Yes. But I don't know, if someone admires those design choices that I made for myself, I don't know. I don't see why not. Hard disagree on indie then, unless indie wants to sell. Okay, of course, it has to be voluntary. Okay, wait. Wait, did I not specify that? Yes, it has to be voluntary, okay? It has to be voluntary, so, like, for me, like, I would be cool with it, so I would genuinely be like, okay, someone can use this model. But, like, if Gry is like, I don't consent if I die tomorrow that my very expensive, very beautiful, handsome VTuber model, gets repurposed. Okay, like, let's respect the wishes of specific people, but I don't know. I think, genuinely, having it in... like, the agencies own the IPs anyways, right? And some of them are so petty. Some of them are so petty that they legitimately don't even let the VTubers, like the voice actors behind those agency VTubers, buy their own models, buy their own personas. Yeah. It's tied to my hot take. My hot take is that VR artists believe that they should be able to control their clients' actions and usage of their products, aka models, because it reflects them, and I think that's out of line. Yeah. I mean, here's the... we assign a lot of emotion to these things, these puppets. Right? They're just a piece of art at the end of the day. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. The Yam herself is just a piece of art. I mean, we put a lot of emotion into it, but it's a piece of art. And they're puppets, like Kermit. VTuber models are products at the end of the day, yes. So it sounds like some dead corpos have contacts that they seem to be selling the IPs they held on to. Yeah. Would be a good way to give YouTubers who don't have the money to create a new model or the skills. It would be a great way to start their careers. Yeah, exactly. Like, if let's say an agency who was genuinely good did go out of business, and, like, that's sad and all, but, like, they could probably recoup a lot of their funds by selling the models. Not gonna lie, when I die, my character will live on in my creative works. Yeah. This could be a problem if the new model owner had bad intentions. Oh, for sure. That is definitely a kink in the hose of my hot take. I 100% agree that this could go bad. But at the same time, I don't know. It has some benefits, guys. It has some benefits, right? Actually, some ways appreciate that Hollow retires the models with the talents. I would fear about the work environment more if it was commonplace to fire a talent and then just replace them. No, I wouldn't say replacing them is good. I wouldn't say replacing them is good. However, I would think that, like, selling off some of the models. I know this is a hot take, and I understand why it's a hot take. I hear all the cons to this, but I think the pros are really good. That, like, being able to give that model a second life. I think there should be clauses of, like, you can't impersonate the person, you can't, like, use the same name, that kind of stuff. Like a legal thing. That you can't, like, pretend to be them coming back. You can't use the same name for the model. Like, you would have to make a new VTuber persona around that model. But at the same time, I think that would be really good for the community. Also, it gets really complicated with merch because the merch is successfully because of the talent behind it, you know. So giving the IP to someone else, the merch is still being sold because of the old person is confusing, complex. It would be complex. There needs to be some legal contracts with it. I'm gonna gamble, lose all my money on the horse races to go then sell my model and yeet. Seems a bit bothersome to police. Yeah. But it's such a waste, guys. The way it currently works isn't any better. So back when I was, like, a VTuber model artist, you know how many of my models actually had legs beyond, like, 3 months after debut? 1. One of my models, excluding my own, one of my models actually, like, became a, like, the customer actually used it for a long time. And that was Lasso Cassidy. Everyone else who got a... Oh, actually, Edda at this point. Edda has also surpassed that. Edda and Lasso, you guys are the winners. Other than that, none of my VTuber children have, like, continued to use their models, and it's just been a waste. Just hire the same artist to make a not clone than of that dumped model, gives the artist more work. Oh, I like that angle, bored individual. I like that you're saying actually it gives artists more work. But here's the thing, in my hypothetical, what if the artist gets a cut every time their model gets sold? My favorite. Oh my gosh. From a fan perspective, it would be similar to Doctor Who. My favorite is the 5th Gura. I love that. Residuals, those do exist in literary work. Yeah. I don't think they should reuse models that were retired due to termination or graduation, but if a model got scrapped when the user didn't even debut, those should be up for grabs. Oh, for sure, Semi-Enigma. And Hololive is sitting on at least 2 of those. Niji Sanji is sitting on at least... No, I only know 1 of Niji Sanji. I mean, that never stopped Disney with Mickey Mouse, so what's stopping them? You think it's because of the culture of VTubing? Yes. I do feel when companies die, they should just let the talents get their models for free. Send me Enigma so much. So much. They should just, at least, if they were that charitable, that should definitely be commonplace. Basically what ex-corpos do, they rehire their art mamas for a new one. Yeah. But wouldn't it be nice if they could just have their old one? I guess my agreement with your take is from my own experiences in drawing certain models or even character designs which I've scrapped. I know, right, Murdragon? I think it would need some clauses. And I know that is a spicy take, okay? That's why I said it was a hot take. I hope you can see I wasn't lying, but I genuinely believe that, I don't know, I guess I have like a Muppets mentality when it comes to VTubing, that these are like cultural treasures that shouldn't die just because someone put them down. Does that make sense? I personally find it ethically wrong to resell the alts from the design to separate users. It is a very spicy take, I'm glad. Not sure most VTubers would even agree to joining an agency like that these days, at least in the States. You'd be surprised, Etta. Not anyone with the head you have on your shoulders, but yes, there are some people who would join. Not the Muppets? I love Muppets, and every time I have to explain what VTubing is and like what I do to someone who doesn't understand, I say we are virtual puppeteers who basically pilot a Muppet in an anime style. That is the easiest way to explain to someone who doesn't know what VTubing is. We're basically Muppets. I would happily give the model to someone someone else if it's switched out. I wonder how attached or unattached the people get with these models. Some talents that graduated corpos but got the IPs anyways, sometimes just dump it anyway. At least a couple of recent examples I can think of. It really depends on the memories they have associated with that model. Flesh Gundams, now Edda's thinking. Now I gotta make a Muppet VTuber model? That would be great. Yeah, like how Elmo got a different voice actor. Can't see the Muppet angle, help. Ha 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 ha. So yeah, that's my VTuber hot take. Now, will it ever happen? Probably not. Is there a lot of logistics and a lot of like cons to my wish? Yes. I am fully willing to acknowledge that this could go south in very many ways, but I just can't handle the fact that all of the amazing models out there just get dumped. That is the worst timeline in my opinion. I admit, knowing your stance that brings you to the spicy take, I can see where you're coming from, and I can see that as an artist myself. From a fan perspective, there's definitely some discussion to be had surrounding it. Yeah, I totally get it. If I created a character from scratch, I am betting buried with it, but corpos are sitting on a bunch of models they don't even need. Yeah. It's hard, right? Because I can't ever imagine, like someone said, the Gargura model being auctioned off. Could you even imagine? I can't even imagine how much that would go for. Same with the Ame model. But Ame is like technically an ambassador, so they wouldn't sell that one. Yeah. Or like the Uraha Rushia model. Man. It would definitely get some fan backlash, yes. I have thoughts about models in a certain place, but I can't say anything. Yeah, I understand. I know what you're talking about. It's just, there's gotta be a solution other than just not use the models, guys. I really would love. Hello, placeholder shrimp. Sorry. What did I miss? Hottest of the heat. A placeholder shrimp. My personal VTuber hot take is that when a VTuber retires, if they consent to it, their model should be auctioned off. Like, even in corpos. Because I hate seeing the amount of VTuber graveyard there is. I hate seeing all of these amazing models that got, like, 1 month of use. You know? In the Discord server, I'll repost an example of a character I'm letting be reused for my Friday games, as well as a character to add to your point. That would be great, thank you. Oh, random man after auction, this baseball anime girl had some thoughts on things. Oh my gosh! Oh, maybe they could do a kind of patch the torch tradition? That would be sweet. That is indeed a take. See, VTuber fans hate this take. The artists kind of side with me. But yeah, no, I understand that there's a lot of logistics that would need to be held. And that, no, it is a spicy take. But I didn't want to bring a lukewarm take to the table. Like, I could say VTuber agencies are not always the best. I really can't imagine anyone else in Gura's skin. Yeah, no, I get that. But it would bring Hull. I have a lot of money to auction it off. It would. I guess the other interesting angle they could put is to make the models, like, publicly available after. You know? What if they, instead of money, instead of auctioning off one copy, what if they're just like, okay, now we make the model files publicly available. Now everyone can use Gura, because we already know Gura's gone. You know? Then it, like, kind of immortalizes her. Yeah, like an open source kind of thing. That would be cool, right? I'm horrifying some VTuber fans. That's a massive legal issue. Agency bad is low-hanging fruit by now. I mean, I work with some decent agencies, but yeah. Now we are all Gura. Would be a 45-year man committed to the bit, and still feels like a weekend at Bernie's steak. That's a really good. That's really good. I need to be quieter. I forgot it's loud, or I forgot it's late. It's an IP issue, right? Because it reflects bad on them as a company. Of the Gura model, face of the company is used to do bad things. Yeah. Would fans want to see more of the model even if the personality isn't there? It would be like a new version of Hatsune Miku. Yeah, see? Would assume all rights have been cleared by the TOS of each person in the process. Art, rigging, modeler, designer, yeah. Feels the same when studios use their digital likeness of actors after they pass. I wouldn't say it's that far. I mean, it is a puppet. It's more like the fact that Kermit is everywhere and anyone can kind of buy a Kermit puppet. At least to me. I mean, I love Kermit. I love the Muppets, so just like a... You know, I guess it depends on how you see VTuber models. If you see them as someone's body, or if you see them as a puppet that someone anonymous is piloting. And you see, I see it more as the anonymous person is piloting it, and more people see it as, like, the person. So it really depends on how you view VTubers, and I don't think, like, if you don't agree with me, I think you're completely justified in not agreeing with me. However, I do believe in this. And genuinely, if I'm done VTubing at some point, I would love to make all my models, like, public domain, or, you know, pass the torch on to someone who genuinely appreciates my design. Yeah. Comes down to IP ownership and trademark. Yeah. Gura isn't Hatsune Miku, though. Miku isn't real, and Gura is more than the model. Yeah, it really depends on how you see I think the girl model and the creator, I see them as separate things. Yeah. I think it reflects on the fact that streaming is inherently parasocial. Kermit is animated and shows are written. Yeah, but like, there's so many episodes of the Muppets. There's so many episodes of the Muppets. Almost to the point of like a streaming career. I just can't see someone else portraying Hako's Bales. Saba said AI companies have approached her for her voice. Oof. The issue was someone who used the previous person's reputation to fuel themselves, which is why the OG model didn't get enough use to make an impact problem. All good points. All good points. I love this discussion. If I were actually a character and not a filter for the real person to filter their life's experiences through, then sure. Another person donning a Spider-Man mask or a Batman cowl or playing Kermit. Yes. So it really depends on how you look at things here. And because I am an artist and I've worked on other people's VTuber personas, I do tailor my designs to my individual clients, but I don't see them as my clients' bodies per se. And I don't see Yam as my body. Reread that. Okay, I will try. If it were actually a character and not a filter for the real person to filter their life's experiences through, then sure, it's another person's donning a Spider-Man mask or Batman cowl or playing Kermit. Yeah, I missed some words at the start. I do still have that brain. I do understand what you're saying though, yeah. Also depends on how much kayfabe you're doing. Ooh, true. I'm doing no kayfabe. I don't know, would you guys feel weird if, you know, one day these models were used by someone else than me? Are you gonna bravely post this hot take on Twitter? You guys want me to post it on Twitter? I mean, I don't think it's that hot, but yeah, I can. It would feel weird to me. Oh, okay, it would feel weird to you, Gry, if you saw someone using the Yam model. Okay. Good to know. I do not have any kayfabe. Other than, like, saying bat brain. Oh. It would feel weird to me, too! Okay! That's interesting. I guess I just view it differently. I mean, VTubers are straight-up characters. They're not all one-to-one people. Those characters are still fictional in conception, though. Do you think it would be weird to see someone, sexy man piloting my model? I don't know, because, like, you're right. Like, if I think of my friends, and I saw, like, someone using my friend's model, it's, like, a little weird, but, like, not to the point where I'm just like, oh, that's wrong, you know? If I heard of different voice or personality with this model, I would feel like it's a fake. Huh. We don't know you IRL. In this version, we associate you with, so removing you from the equation is kind of terminates the identity. Ooh, I understand reusing an unused model for more than a character you've built for years. I see. Camel No Friends is a good example of VTubers who are characters first. Yeah. Oh, such a good discussion. We should actually come back to this. This is like the Soma question of VTubers, apparently. I didn't know that this was gonna be so, I knew it was gonna be hot, but yeah. Depends on the kayfabe and the culture, yeah. There was a full scripted kayfabe, then there's only acting, which anyone could do, since it is you, the model is you, and that's all we see. But, like, a lot of my friends, I've either seen them in person, or I interact with them off of stream more than on stream. So I actually associate them more with, like, their writing style, their voice, than their actual model. Or, you know, their actual flesh mecha, as Edda put it. Yeah. Sith Lord, yes, do it and post. Okay, I'm gonna post the follow. I'm gonna follow up. I'm gonna follow through. You guys want to watch me post it? Here we go. Do it. Do it now. Okay. Let us quote tweet as promised. Here is my VTuber hot take. I believe that with the original actors and artists, how do you spell this? Actors and artists' consent, VTuber models should be either public domain or auctioned off to a new user who will give it love after the original creator using the model has moved on from their VTuber activity. Oh no! I'm just gonna take this out. Activity. Smile. And then I'm gonna add a little thing. I just hate the VTuber model graveyard and all the hard work that doesn't see the light of day. And yes, this applies to my own VTuber model if I one day decide to move on. Unlikely. Okay, here you go. Money where my mouth is. Excuse me if this sounds rude, but what is a VTuber? Oh, Harry, you're just in time. I have a great explanation for what a VTuber is. So a VTuber is basically like a virtual puppet. If you've ever watched the Muppets, that's like a real life puppet situation. You've got an actor who plays a character, and you know, does like a voice, you know, and then we're just doing like a VTuber, a virtual puppet, a virtual YouTuber, make content. We're virtually puppeteering a puppet to make content. Yeah. It's like saying no other person can be Tobey Maguire, can be Spider-Man, but I know some people actually believe it too, but Spider-Man isn't a real person. This is such a great I love this discussion. We're gonna have to come back to this discussion, but I will tweet. There you go. There you go, Bat Bunch. I done tweeted it. You guys are free to interact with it. I will give you the link. Get me canceled. So you are an entertainer. I am an entertainer, yes. Here's the promised tweet. Not all VTubers are real people, some are just characters. Yeah, so it really depends on, I guess, there's a million caveats. Number one, legal. Number two, the respects of the creator and the artist and the everything. Number three, IP. Number four, like the general vibes of the creator. Like if it was like really personalized, that kind of stuff. Yeah. Okay, it's why graduations like Gura's hit like death. Even if the talent returns, or someone else piloted the model, Gura, as we knew her, for all intents and purposes, is effectively dead. I totally understand that feeling. I feel like I don't consider it more of the death. I consider it more like an end of an era. Like your anime season is ending. Yeah. Hi, Enva. This is the latest I've streamed, like, ever. Bringing them out of retirement, color swap, and set them loose. The color swap is diabolical. But I know what I'm saying is sometimes VTubers are simply characters. That is so true. Yeah. There's a massively varied sliding scale of how much a talent allows their model's lore to affect their acting of the character. Yeah. It's a tough... This is the Soma question of VTubers. I found it. Because I would totally be cool with, like, after I'm done with the model. After I'm done, if I'm like, oh, you know, I'm done being Yam, or like, I want something new. I don't think that's gonna happen. But if I ever was like, I'm done with the internet, I would be like, okay. Here's the Yam models, have fun. If people would be like, these are super outdated, but you know. You're already several levels of something beyond seeking purity with a character that has already been written and portrayed for many decades at that point. I see, yeah, because of the Spider-Man thing, yeah. It's interpretations, yeah. Again, the keys to the eye fiasco, yes. Yeah. So are some characters and some more just like another version of face cam? Is that how it is? Yes, Harry, that's a very nice way to put it. Like, if the new Yam doesn't like music and went into, I don't know, potato carving, it would be weird. I know, but my caveat was be like, you have to make a new character surrounding the model. I don't want them to, like, try to just, like, skinwalk me. Like, I want them to do something new with the character. Because I think she's pretty cute. I could also see someone giving their blessing and passing the model on, then later regretting it after seeing it resurrected. Ooh. Ooh. Kulad. Kulade? Sulade? I don't know how to say your name. But that's a good point. That's a good point. The regret of selling your model could be crazy. Like, especially if you're like, oh, okay, I am getting into an agency now, and I'm not gonna need this model anymore, so I'm gonna sell it. I wonder if that already happens. Where someone's like, oh, I actually sold my old persona already. The next, yeah, no one cared who I was until I put on the mask. So I presume you made your model then? Do most people buy them? I did. So I made the design of this model. I did not make the 3D model. But I did originally design this model, and it's based off of my artwork, yes. The inherent risk of someone using your donated model and running wild is not small. That is true. That is true. The internet takes everything too far. The person who purchased the model played it off as portraying a lost twin, then it might work. That would be hilarious. That would be hilarious. Yeah, there's a lot of ways this could go south, but I don't know. I just am sad that so many of my favorite designs will never see the light of day and they're just like sitting there. At the end of the day, they couldn't replace Kizuna Ai's first actress, and all iterations have become distinct alternate versions. That's what I would want to. I don't want someone to pretend to be me. I want someone who would appreciate the model and give it new life. If I was done. But I'm not done anytime soon. The lack of actual good faith persons is why I feel this is such a bad idea. I see. So I have too much faith in humanity, is that it? The twin idea is essentially neuro and evil. So why is Neurosama 1.0 fine, but not... Because a lot of people associate the default VTube Studio girl with Neurosama. Because Neurosama was originally the default VTube Studio girl. So, is Neurosama like That is a Soma question. That's legitimately... Well, Neuro isn't real. You're right. Neuro's technically more like a Hatsune Miku. You're technically right. Because that originally wasn't hers, yeah. Yeah. The thing about bad faith actors is it takes one. That is true. That is true. There was a soulless robot, oh my gosh. Not even BTS, that's default live 2D cubism. Oh, is it? Oh my gosh. Neurosama is a skinwalker? Oh no! Oh my gosh. Neurosama is its own topic. I consider her like a Hatsune Miku powered by AI. Yeah. Iron Mouse's original model was default too, same with Fillions. Fillions is still someone else's default model, yeah. I don't think she has changed from the default model, actually. Genuinely. I'm pretty sure she's still using the VR chat default model thing. But yeah. I mean, that's all I have. Fillion also got in big trouble trying to monetize. Oh, yeah. And then the merch issue comes back up again. Fillion doesn't even own her own design and it got her in trouble, yeah. Custom paid model thing. Oh, this is a whole can of worms. Is a VTuber an IP, a puppet? Is it a person? Is it a soulless robot? That would be fun. Fun times. Thank you guys for discussing hot takes with me tonight. It was great to get back into Yammer time. I had a lot of fun. And I will see you guys same time next week. Oh, so are a lot of VTubers part of machinima-like corporations? Yes, I have an entire Yammer Time episode on that, and I also have 2 video essays on that, Harry, so feel free to check out my channel if you want to know in depth more about, like, the VTuber history of companies and stuff like that. Yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. It was a lot of fun getting back into it. Hopefully it wasn't... This was an interesting one? Yeah, I was hoping that we could get restarted with a bang. I have no IP and I must screen. Great. Okay, I'm gonna end on YouTube, and then we're gonna raid out on Twitch. I will see you guys next week. Thank you everybody so much for watching. Thank you for discussing and being civil in the comments, and as always, take care, Bat Bunch. Alright, let's raid out on Twitch. This was fun. I'm so glad